Hello and welcome back to the most reactionary football channel on the web. The Reds are going up. Let's have a look at the Championship first, shall we? Like we do every single week. Sunday the 29th of December, we start with Norwich 1, QPR 1. And it did look a very good game. It's a very good point for QPR. Norwich are maybe showing that they ain't got enough to seriously compete for top 6 this season. Maybe. Obviously, see what happens after January when transfers have all done, because Norwich have got a fair bit of the pennies, haven't they? But I'm just very excited to put a little fan base where they belong. So I'm just going to move straight on to Preston 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Absolutely dicked by Preston. How many goals have Preston scored this season? 26. Not a lot. It's like relegation amount of goals scored, and you've just been absolutely slapped. But obviously, in very Wednesday fashion, all they're bothered about is attendance, because they took 5,000 there, so there should be Premier League. Had a decent amount of ball, but created nowhere near as much as Preston. Preston definitely deserved win. The goal came from, like, to be fair, screamer might be a bit too much. It's a very good finish from outside the box from one of their only half-decent attacking options. I think I did successfully jinx them, because I'm trying to, put a bit of, cast a spell on a man by saying, oh, they might get it playoffs. They won't, but they might get it playoffs. Little gap now. Obviously, we'll see what Deshfon's got for him in January, because they do spend shitloads of money, in fairness. I don't know why they don't like him. The amount of money that he throws at that club, they should be at his feet kissing him. In fact, to be fair, they were when they got promoted from League One. I'm gonna stop. But yeah, it's a very good win for Preston. Obviously, they move up into mid-table fodder category where they belong now. But then coming back to Chef, why are there so many half-12ers? I literally just don't get it. What is the need for 3 half-past-12 kickoffs in Championship? It's shit. But Sheffield United drew 1 apiece with West Brom. Apparently, Souttar's out for injured. The big centre-half they got from Leicester, very good player. To be fair, I do think he's a Premier League standard defender. So if Sheffield United were to go up, I think they could buy him. He's very, very good. But he's out for season. Obviously, Arblaster is out for season. The stretch so thin. The subs that they brought on, McCallum, a backup left-back, and Brewster. Like, come on. The squad is... I got laughed at. I'm just going to say I got laughed at for this. And in middle, where they've been weakest, I think, in fairness, yes, obviously, Robinson's all right, to be fair. The drop-off from Souttar to him is big, but it's not as big as, like, your midfielders, I don't think. Like, Peck and Davis, I quite like both of them. I think Davis gets a lot of stick because of, like, when he was in Premier Everton, he weren't cutting it, stuff like that. And Peck's obviously young. I quite like both of them. But can you get promoted to Premier League with Peck and Davis starting in midfield? Absolutely not. No chance. Well, obviously, they've got new owners. They're talking a big game. Let's see what they've got in January, because you've got to, surely, you can't just let Aim and play this free role all season. I know it's worked so far. Bring him into the middle. Go for a left winger, maybe. I think you need a striker. Obviously, centre out. You need 4 in. Centre half, midfielder, left winger, striker is what I would say Sheffield United are needing if they want to get in. Obviously, because Souttar's on loan, when they get to January, they might be able to send him back if he's out for the season. There's no point in being at Sheffield United, is it? Unless they might want to bring him back at their facilities, stuff like that. So maybe he'll go back. They're really good with low markets anyway, Sheffield United, aren't they? So you know they'll bring a couple of them fellas in, and it opens another slot up if Souttar does go back. So it's a good point for West Brom. It's a good point for both, in fairness, because Sheffield United's squad stretched so thin, and West Brom, no manager, sort of trotting on by, waiting for a new manager to come in. So I think it's a good point for both. Blackburn lost 1-0 at home to Hull. That, to be fair, all with this new manager, they've won 2 out of the last 3. So maybe, you know, to be fair, a lot of fans did tell me, because I was putting them in sort of like a serious. I thought they could have gone down at one point when they were just losing non-stop. I didn't think the squad were good enough at all. I still don't think the squad's that good, but I'm liking this new gaffer and what he's getting out of him. Blackburn, goal scoring has always been a problem. They're winning a lot of games, but they're winning a lot of these games 1-0. They're relying heavily on the defence being really, really good, which it is. They've only conceded 21 goals so far, which is same as Sunderland. It's one of your best, you know what I mean? It's a top 6 defence that they've got going on, or out they're setting up anyway. But they're not scoring enough goals. 27, it's least out at top half. It's the least out of top half. So if you're conceding a goal, or if you're conceding 2 goals, more or less, you know that you've lost. They need to start hitting a bit more. You can tell they're missing some in that regard, that they're not scoring as many. Defence is miles better than last season. But, again, we're looking at January now. We've got this far. That's last game. There are no more games before transfer window. If you get your business done quite early, they get a decent forward in on loan fairly early on. Maybe that is what they need. But I think teams have got to get the business done early, not wait till the last couple of days at transfer window. Bring players in that aren't fully fit, because then you wait until end of February for them to be fit anyway. You've got to get your business done early. I hate when teams get to January and wait till the last week to do any of the business. Get it done early, first day. See a difference. It is 3 without a win now for Blackburn. Obviously, 1-0 loss away at Millwall. To be fair, I said if they concede 2, they'd lose. That's not true, but they're not 1. So they conceded 2 at home to Sunderland and then 1 here. They've only scored 2 goals in the last 3 games. Before that, it's a 2 there and a 1 there. They just need some more goals, Blackburn, for me, if they want to be serious about gaining. Bristol City bet Portsmouth 3-0. I'm just going to go to the table quickly. I'm not actually going to laugh at it this time. 10th. I'm not going to laugh. I'm actually going to speak about this for once because they have slapped Portsmouth and deserve for it to be spoken about. Some quality goals, in fairness. The first one I thought were really, really tidy finish for him to have slid that near post. He had like 3 inch to him. A really good finish, that. But Portsmouth, again, same problems a lot of time. They've still got a lot of injuries, especially defensively, and this is not the normal defence, but they're conceding a lot of goals. They've created nothing in this game. The one highlight, if I can remember this properly, that they got is Bishop shooting from like 25 yards on slip. Like, they created very, very little. Bristol City, a lot of chances, or good ones at that. Obviously not a load at ball, but they didn't need it. You know what I mean? If you're creating 3 expected goals, you won 3-0. I feel like people get obsessed with this start rather than this one. You know what I mean? Good performance across board from Bristol City, and they deserved the flowers for it. But Portsmouth, goals, I thought they'd have scored more since Bishop's come back. Maybe, fine, I'll say it. Fine, I'll say it. But in the last 4 games, 4 at Derby, 1 at Coventry, 2 to Watford, 3 to Bristol City. I know it's not the normal defence, and I know, again, we're coming up to January, but they've got to tighten up. They've got to tighten up, or... Come on. Best defence wins down at bottom. Come on. Coventry 0, Millwall 0. Listen, Millwall, I love you. You know I do. But we do not care. Oxford 2, Plymouth 0. He's got to be sacked. He has got to be sacked. His arty bars round Barbican flirting with out birds. Please, Plymouth, grow some balls. Sack the man, or you are going down. You are going to be cut adrift. This is shaping up, I think, seriously. This could be a great relegation battle, this. It really, really could. Apart from Plymouth. You know, like last year when it went to last day and there were like 8 teams that could have gone in. I think Birmingham needed just 1 team to drop points out of like 6. And they'd have stayed up and all of them won. It's going to be like that. But then they were just Rotherham at bottom, weren't they, last season? Just start like, oh, we got relegated in March, guys. That is going to be Plymouth if they carry on. 51 goals conceded. 51. They're on for 100 goals conceded in the Championship. Hello? It doesn't look like a fairly even game, but it's just... Look at the... And to be fair, I don't blame Rooney for the selection choice because the team as a whole is crap. But they stayed up last year. They spent a lot of money again. And they spent like £3 million this summer. Pardon me. For a club size of Plymouth, with the revenue that Plymouth are making. That's a lot of money to be spending even in Championship. And this team stinks. It does. It stinks. Yeah, they've got a couple of decent attackers. They've got a couple of good attackers. But the defence... And the way that they're set up, oh my God, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's a really big win for Oxford. Let's talk about let's talk about positives, sir. Oxford, really good win. 2 wins on bounce. I thought they were looking like after the sack Des, but they have won 2 in a row against relegation at threatened teams, which is really, really big character to show that you can beat crap sides that are in and around you. However, 39 goals conceded. They're still going to finish 4th bottom at most. I will say that again. Stoke bet Sunderland 1-0. How Johansson went from Rotherham to Stoke, I don't know. How Johansson has not gone from like Cooper, for example, has gone from Plymouth to Sheffield United. He's gone from this to this straight away. Why Johansson has gone from Rotherham to Stoke, I don't know. He is a top 6 level Championship keeper easily. He wants knighting. This game is all Sunderland, start to finish, but it's a mixture of Johansson making some very, very good saves and some really poor finishing from Sunderland that has cost them this game because they should have won comfortably. But the one decent chance that Stoke had all game, they took it. So you can't, you know what I mean? You can't disregard Stoke for doing that. They've defended okay for the most part. They've got the keeper to be thankful for, but they've got the one chance and they've took it. So well done. It's the first time they've won in about 6 years, but that grit and fate is what separates them from that serious 5 or 6 shit teams at bottom. Swansea bet Luton 2-1. And speaking of crap size down at bottom, Luton, oh my God, they are so bad. You know when you just let me just go back to this and show you their attackers. You think with like Chong, Bell coming down left, Adebayo and Morris up front, you'd think, wow, they're going to score some goals. They're going to create a lot of chances for them. You think this, even though the defence looks quite poor, you think they're going to score some goals, wouldn't you? No. They create nothing. Absolutely nothing. The goal, and to be fair, their only chance of entire game is Swansea's keeper passing it straight to Morris. To be fair, he blasted it to him about 100 miles an hour. Best first touch in recorded history from Morris and then a tap-in. So that's the only chance at entire game. Swansea have slapped him start to finish. How Rob Edwards is still in a job, I genuinely don't know, because they look terrible. The series look really, really bad. Every time I'm watching them, every time I'm watching highlights of these games, they're creating nothing. They're not scoring enough goals with the attacking players that they've got, and they're getting dicked at back end. They said they spent £10 million on a centre half. They've got a really good keeper in net. The way that they're set up, they're just so easy to play against. They're so easy to get shots off against. And 41 goals conceded, like, what, second most in division, from a side that's just come down for Premier League and spent £10 million on a centre half. 4 points now from them to Cardiff. 3 losses out of the last 4. Obviously, you can say they've got 6 points in the last 5, which some of these aren't. But 3 losses in the last 4 when they're playing, like, not exactly the best teams in the world, are they? Blackburn are doing good, to be fair. But Derby, Bristol City and Swansea, and you pick up 3 points from them games. Maybe they get dragged into it a little bit. Again, it's a January game. I don't know what Luton's finances are looking like. Obviously, they built a new stadium, but you'd think with the £100 million that they've got, they didn't spend loads when they went up, did they? Probably £10 million max. The wages obviously took a massive hike. But they must have some brass to throw at this. Whether you want to give that money to Rob Edwards for him to make his signings, if you're going to sack him in the next couple of weeks, I don't know. But some really important decisions coming up for this board. Watford won Cardiff 2. I've blasted Cardiff's recruitment for a long time, and rightfully so, because it's shit. But 2 really good goals from Cardiff. 2 really, really good goals. That first one, serious quality from Callum Robinson. The only bit of quality they've probably got from an attacking point of view on pitch, because I just don't think they're scoring enough goals. But the touch and finish for that first one, really, really good. And the second one, to be fair, it's good play. It's just a sweaty goal across the box for a tap-in, but it's really well worked. They probably could have finished game off as well in second half, but it were really good saves from Watford's keeper. And I won't look into this too much from a Watford point of view. Yeah, they've lost 2 in the last 3, but before that, they've not lost in, I feel like, ages. They are quite hard to beat most at time, but maybe a little bit of inconsistency is starting to catch up with him, and that's why Middlesbrough have jumped in front of him. West Brom aren't that far behind. Swansea, God forbid, Swansea and Bristol City have actually won 2 on bounce, so who knows. But down the bottom, that's big. Obviously, 3 out of bottom 5 won games. Portsmouth and Plymouth concede way too many goals. Plymouth, I'm cutting it. Unless it's at Rooney, I'm just not going to speak about them anymore. I'm going to shake your hand. No more speaking about Plymouth until it's at Rooney. But yeah, I'm liking the shape of how this is looking, this relegation battle again. It could be like last year. Derby 0, Leeds 1. These, to be fair, the highlights showed a little bit of a more even game. Obviously, Leeds was better side, but it didn't look like it was this dominated. Leeds are a bottom 3 Premier League team that's plopped in Championship. They've got some very good players. They've got an insane bench. I genuinely think Dan James, it's only given him a 6.3, but from highlights and the odd bit that I was listening to when I was driving back from Peterborough, if he could finish, say if Dan James had end product, that Man United move would have genuinely made sense and it'd have been good. He's rapid. I think his decision making is perfect. His movement and the timing of his runs is top notch, but he just cannot score any goals. If he could finish, mate, it'd be insane. But that's probably why he's at Leeds. It's a really good win though, and I'm getting to a point now where Leeds are just like, just look at this form. This is a side that's going to win league, isn't it? Genuinely, this is a side that's going to win league. And then finally, Middlesbrough 0, Burnley 0. We don't care. So, looking at the table, Plymouth cut adrift unless you sat Rooney. We're looking at now, I know before I've said like there's 4 or 5 serious crap teams, which there is. I think from Oxford down is your really, really shit teams. But Luton is genuinely, unless they sat Rob Edwards, I'm getting a little bit nervous for them that they could do a Sunderland where they just go the double. But on a real, what we're looking at here, Stoke obviously they've won this game, but it's Frank Johansson being absolutely insane. QPR go away, Derby go away, Coventry go away. All these sides, QPR upwards go away. Even though they're 1 point in front, maybe this is the more realistic fate. Plymouth are done, but maybe Stoke, Luton, Oxford, Hull, Cardiff, Portsmouth is where we're looking at for some dross. All for different reasons. But yeah, we'll get a much better picture on where everybody's looking across football in general on 1st of Feb. Once we're there, you'll know seriously where teams are at, whose owners care. You know what I mean? That's when you get a proper look at it. But I think Stoke down is where we're looking at for some shite. Norwich are just, I expected more from Norwich. I really, really did. The goals that were scoring, the form that Borja Sanz run, I expected more from them. Wednesday have lost their shit. Bristol City and Swansea taking up their positions. West Brom, I don't think will get in there now that Carlos has gone. But I think Brunt's doing all right, to be fair, for him to just keep scratching points off people, maybe, until they get somebody in. Watford a little bit too inconsistent, same as Middlesbrough, but that's a good point, to be fair, onto Burnley. And I said it last week, I think Sunderland are destined for 4th. That is your top 3. I'm thinking something else now from what I've said like a couple of weeks ago. Leeds, I think, could walk away with it. But Sheffield United and Burnley, I think it'll be a shootout with them two for 2nd place. I'm not going to say who I think will get in. It's time for the best league in the world. League 1. Charlton 2, Wycombe 1. Well, Wycombe top of league before this get the wormhole. I think Birmingham leaped them. Oh my God, Wrexham have jumped in there. Oh dear. 2 wins out of the last 5. To be fair, Charlton at home have bet a few of the top sides in this league. Obviously, they'll lose slightly later on and Crawley. But the drew with Wrexham, the drew with Stockport, they bet Birmingham, they've bet Wycombe. Do you know what I mean? They're very hard to beat at home, Charlton. It's just Nathan Jones type shit. And obviously, January can be really good for some teams that have got a lot of brass. And Wycombe have, to be fair, Wycombe financially are really, really good. But because you're one of the smaller sides that are performing extremely well, and your players aren't going to be on insane wages, you might see people coming in for like Coney. Ipswich might bring Humphries back and send him to Championship. Do you know what I mean? There's already bids in for Lowe and Taylor, I think. It's gonna be a tough month this for Wycombe, it really is. And it's one of the worst things ever when you're a smaller side in division that you're in that's performing really well. Because I know from when Barnsley have been good in Championship and we've been like flirted. There's been a couple of times in the last like 5, 6, 7 years when Barnsley have been like maybe in playoffs or top 10 or something in January, and then it's like, oh, your best players, yoink, I love that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, all for a combined £7. See you later. And that could happen with Wycombe. Rotherham 1, Stockport 1. Guess who scored for Stockport? If you like the video, I'll tell you. It was Louis Barry, obviously. Rotherham are really shit as well, but they've obviously got enough in them to stay away from the bottom 4 at least. There might be some sort of like fate down the bottom, but they're getting enough points against enough teams, really, just to stay up. Stockport should be winning this. They've got a better manager by an absolute mile. They've probably got a better core of a squad, in fairness. They've definitely got better individual players. They should have won this game. Decent-ish point, I guess. I mean, any point away is half decent, especially when you're just going for playoffs and you're not going for a top 2. But you need as many points as you can before Louis Barry gets recalled, because then it's just Birmingham 0, Blackpool 0. Even though we're not talking about 0-0s, Blackpool look like they went and had a serious go. Birmingham, everybody's got it wrong with Birmingham. People think like, oh, they've got all these attackers, they're going to score loads of goals. They're done. They're very defensively sound, and most of the time they'll win 1 or 2-0. That's just what it is. Really, really good point for Blackpool. Anybody that takes a point away at Birmingham, or off Birmingham in general, you should be pointing to the gods, mate. But really good point for Blackpool. Not ended well for Birmingham, is it? They're still on for 100 points at least. Bolton 3, Lincoln 0. After the loss to us, 2-1 over there, and I thought Bolton looked really poor in general. The serious chance that they had, Aaron Collins tried hitting it as hard as he possibly could from 5 yards if he did just side for today, that a drawn was. But he's made up for it today. He scored in first half, and then Lincoln got a red card, which is largely due, which is why even in second half that it was just all Bolton. First half, even though it were 1-0 and Bolton went into it winning, it was much more even. And I think this is what frustrates Bolton fans, the fact that, like, obviously Lincoln are a decent side in this division, but you're at home against a side that should be tonking, really, with the players that Bolton have got, and you're going in there just like, it's always very edgy and it's very nervous every Bolton game. But it's a good win, and this, to be fair, I can just see it being like this, where they'll win a couple, then lose, they'll win a couple, lose, win a couple, lose Bolton, to a point where it's like, when is the right time to sack Everett? Because you can't sack him now. You could have maybe sacked him after the loss to us, but then it's like, well, Barnsley are absolutely insane away and we win more or less every week away. So you can't sack him against that. Now you can't sack him because he's bet Lincoln. If they lose next game, can you sack him then because he's just bet Lincoln 3-0? So it's like, he's just going to keep getting away with it all year. You know, I could really see it. To be fair, I've said about all season that I think Bolton will get in there regardless if he's there or not. I could see it being where they're sort of like 6th, 7th all year, and then at the last day they finish 7th, and then they sack him. And then Bolton fans will just go ape shit, like, why don't you just sack him 6 months ago if he's not going to get us in? Anyway, moving on. Exeter 4, Crawley 4. I mean, some of the finishes in this game, wow. Some of the quality on show from both of these sides, bloody hell. Some very, very good goals, these. I do think it's really poor game management, though, from a Crawley point of view, to be 4-1 up at half-time. Well, to be 4-1 up on hour and draw. I mean, it is just showing the lack of depth or lack of quality depth that Crawley have got, because they had all the players taken off them anyway, didn't they? So, pardon me. The fact that they're even winning a shout to staying up is a miracle in itself. But come on, if you're 4-1 up and you draw, that is shocking. Whoever's doing it. Like I said, some very good goals from both sides. Obviously, shit defending from both teams as well. And this is maybe same as Championship, where I can see like a really, really good relegation battle coming. I'm liking the fate that Crawley have got in him. But the defence, oh God, it's not good enough. Huddersfield have absolutely slaughtered Burton. Like, from every sort of stat and underlying metric you can find, Huddersfield should have won this probably about 4-1. But Burton, great, come on. And when Wickham lost in early kickoff, I bet Huddersfield and that are like just absolutely licking the lips. Like, yes, we've got Burton at home. We've literally got bottom at league at home. Light work. We'll jump straight in. But to be fair, this is something. This Leighton Orient 2, Cambridge 0. When was the last time like Leighton Orient actually conceded? I know we looked at this recently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games we aren't conceding a goal. Only one of them games they haven't scored in. Only one of them games they haven't scored 2 in. They've been comfortable in every single game apart from Burton. 3-0, 2-0, 2-0, 4-0, 3-0, 2-0. And it's not like, oh, they're scraping by. They're slapping teams. I mean, they obviously dicked us at 4-0. We're so weird, though. Like, oh, I'll talk about that in a minute. But, like, really, really good run of form that they're on. And now, from being like, where were they a couple of weeks ago? Like 5th bottom. Look at them now. You're literally looking at play. He's stupid, this league. And the goal difference has swung from a minus to +8 in space of like a month. Go on, the boys. Cambridge 3 losses on bounce, though. It's time for your annual 5-minute segment on the Reds. Specifically because we've won. We are, not only are we the bollocks, Peterborough are so bad. Like, so bad. They're one of the worst sides that I think I've seen us play this year. Them and, like, Rotherham and Crawley are the 3 worst sides that I've seen this year. And actually, I went on Twitter afterwards because I was just gonna start abusing that Peterborough owner. I've never interacted with him in my life. He must just be a fan of the channel. He's blocked me. He's blocked me on Twitter. He must be able to read minds because I've never interacted with the bloke ever, and I'm just pre-blocked. He's taking you for a ride, and apparently he's liable to, like, he will sue you if you speak about him. Come on, if you want to sue me, you've got to sue Transfer Market as well, because I'm taking my stats from there. Transfer record 23-24, so last season, €5 million profit after expenditure, according to this. This season, what are we on this season? Another €4.5 million profit. They are spending a little bit of money, but in relation to how much they're making, it's just, we'll sell as best player and then pick somebody up that's here. We'll sell this guy then and then we'll pick somebody up that's here, and so on and so on. You're doing a reverse money ball. You're doing what we're doing. This is the worst Peterborough side that I've seen in years. And every time I think we're playing Peterborough, this is going to be a good game. It's going to be an exciting game. To be fair, they're normally quite good at our place, and this is the first time I've gone here. But you always expect exciting, fast players on break, which they are. And you can see what they're trying to do. They play out front back, bring all your players in, and then they'll just counter you with a 3-on-3 because they've got a lot of pace up front, which is fair enough. But your defence isn't good enough to do the initial playing it out front back. We could have had 5 or 6. If we wanted to took foot off gas in second half, which we did, as soon as we went like, or as soon as they got the red card, it was like, we'll just take a breather, we'll keep ball a bit, just tire them out. If we'd have gone for it, seriously, this could have been a cricket score because they are absolutely horrendous defensively. I thought that Hayes looked half decent when he come on. He looked quite bright. That Mothersill looked alright. He was their only threat going forward, I think. But it's just bring all your players in and then lump it up at top. There's no plan B. And I think it'll be welcome back Grant McCann for your 5th tenure in charge soon. Because if they play like that every week, I'm being serious. They are one of the worst that I've seen. They literally are. But at the same time, we were very good. We were very, very good. And we could have, like I said, we could have put 5, 6 past these if we were serious about it in the second half especially. But credit where it's due. Really good win. And after, I mean, we're just so odd. Like 3 wins away at something like hardest ground you'd think to go to in this league normally. Exeter, Bolton and Peterborough. 3 wins, a lot of goals. And then a 4-0 smashing at home to Leighton Orient at middle. We are summer. Reading 2, Mansfield 1. Join the boys. Go on, Reading. To be fair, I don't know why I'm like, I need to stop saying that because Reading could take our place in playoffs. They're not going to do because we're obviously going up now. Second, why not? I've said it now, so we'll lose next 5. But I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Reading. The amount of shit that they're going through. Keep chipping away, boys. I believe in you. Shrewsbury 1, Northampton 1. I'm starting to like get a bit aggy with Shrewsbury. Don't get me wrong, I think it's the last 3 games they took points in them all, aren't they? Where a lot of sides aren't. Yeah, they took 5 points in the last 3 games, which is good. That's more than everybody up to Rotherham around them. So they are like chipping away. They're just like getting little bits more. They're getting little advantages over everybody else every week. But this is a much better point for Northampton than it is for Shrewsbury. Cameron McGeehan again, goal scoring midfielder, ex-Red, go on the boy. And they have been harder to beat recently. They're not shipping 4 goals to Cambridge and Wickham. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they conceded 2 to Wigan, but a clean sheet home to Lincoln and only 1 at home to Northampton when the defence were absolutely horrendous and they were so easy to play against before Inns have come in. It's better. And to be fair, if they keep chipping away, that's fine. But you can't be relying on other teams losing every week because they won't. Couple wins. You need to see games like this out, Shrewsbury. Come on. I might put an investment on them, to be fair. Stevenage 3, Bristol Rovers 0. Notoriously, as I've said on this channel many a times, Stevenage are very, very good at home. Well, to be fair, they're not anymore. But from when I've seen them, I think they're very, very hard to beat at home. Yes, they were out by a red card more or less straight after half-time starting, and then Roberts went and just killed game off a minute afterwards. And Bristol Rovers are really, really shit. Like, really shit. Like, really, 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 really shit. Second least goal. Oh, no. Well, to be fair, Stevenage have got less than him. But joint second least goals after Burton and Stevenage. I'm getting a bit worried. I do think, like I've said it many times, I think Burton and Cambridge are done. Crawley have got the fate. There is going to be, and I think Shrewsbury will stop up, there is going to be a bigger side, you could say, that goes down this year. Maybe it is a Bristol Rovers, maybe it is a Peterborough, maybe, I don't think it will be, but maybe if you're going up to like a Rotherham, it might be something like that. I don't think it will be. I think Bristol Rovers and Peterborough have got a serious chance of going down. Like, if you look at the form for the last 5 games, Bristol Rovers are bottom, 1 point in 5 games. If you look at it for the last 10 games, Bristol Rovers are bottom, 6 points in 10 games. Yes, we're in January nearly, or we will be by the time next game's played. But they've spent a fair whack in summer, so are they going to spend loads of money in Jan? They might rely on some loans, maybe. They need some goals. They need God, really. I think it'd be a shame if somebody that's always, I think, been quite difficult to play against in this league just goes down like that. And then finally, Wrexham 2, Wigan 1. I mean, you look at stuff like this and you just wonder how they keep doing it. Maybe it's like, I don't know. I'm going to stop with, like, Deadpool jokes and, like, Hollywood and all that shit. Barnet, again, to be fair, this is a really good pull. They yonked him from Solihull Moors, didn't they? So that's a really good pull. He's been with him since National League, I think. Really, really good defender. I mean, he's Mr. Consistent, always very good. But then it's Fletcher again in 91st minute. They keep doing it. And I've been saying they can't keep doing it for about 10 weeks. But they keep doing it. So at one point, do I stop saying that and just think, yeah, whatever, Wrexham, I'll just lump on every time it gets at 90th minute in the drawing. But again, I've said before that the recruitment needs to change as they go up the divisions because they can't keep bringing in players like Fletcher and McLean's and Palmer. You know what I mean? All the boys that have got loads of experience. They can't keep doing that because you will get to a point where they're literally just not good enough. You've not got the money realistically to get old Prem players in. Do you know what I mean? When you get to like Championship and stuff like that eventually. But you look at who scores the goals from in these minutes, and it is Fletcher. It is somebody like Mullin. It is Palmer. It's older strikers with loads of experience. So I can't tell them to go and completely change the recruitment style when the current one is still working. They're bringing in players that's got loads of experience, like hundreds and hundreds of games, probably 100 goals, all these players in the career. And they keep coming in at last minute, fresh legs, and win up game every week. Yeah, it's a really, really good win for Wrexham. They've done well to nick it in 90th again. But this is on Wigan not being able to finish the dinner, which has been a problem more or less all season. Defensively, they're very good most of the time, but they're just not going enough goals in them. And that could be a problem. But if we look at the table, Burton, gone. In my mind, I am now looking at Rotherham down. I think Wigan defensively, like I've said, are very, very good. Obviously, Rotherham have only conceded 3 goals more than them, but Wigan were much, much, much harder to play against than Rotherham from when I saw them. Peterborough, I think, could be in serious bother. Going up near top, Leighton Orient have just sprung up here out of nowhere. CHARLTON have got 3 wins on bounce as well, not lost in 5 at least. To be fair, they've only conceded 2 goals as well. Yeah, defensively, very good, CHARLTON. Nathan Jones in it. And January, they'll be spending some brass as always. Bolton, really inconsistent. So are Barnsley, to be fair, but 3 really big away wins on bounce. I might get it. Reading keep chipping away. Stockport, very inconsistent as well. But it's Wrexham's dream, this, because all 3 teams around them, Birmingham, Wickham and Huddersfield, have all dropped points. Birmingham, stop talking about Birmingham. I'm going to stop talking about them as well because they're just going to win league. And it gives people a little bit of hope, this, when they've drawn 0-0 at home to Blackpool. They've won like 8 games in a row before this. They've conceded 16 goals. Be serious. But I'm still in the same place. Huddersfield haven't lost in ages. Yes, they've drawn with bottom at league 1-1 at home. But I still think it'll be Birmingham and Huddersfield by time with it. And as long as Barnsley go up with them, I don't give a diddly. But that is that. Great boys, pleasure. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. We will be back after New Year. This is probably the last one. What day are we on? 30th. Yeah, I'm not doing football again now for the rest of the year. See you next year, boys. See you.
I say I'm a man. Yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.